Hey, welcome everybody. Today I have Brittany Smart, and she is really, really good at handling mortgage protection sales. She's done over 27,000 in a week and has a team that's doing over 300,000 a month. So I wanted to bring her on here today because, as you guys know, I mainly talk about final expense, but I wanted to bring in a master of another type of life insurance sales to help you guys learn, because I know a lot of you sell mortgage protection as well. So, Brittany, first things first, why don't you introduce yourself, let people know where you live, how they can get in touch with you if they have any questions, and then what you like about mortgage protection.
Yes, and Justin, I just want to say I've seen some of your content. I love your content on Instagram and YouTube.
Thank you.
And I highly respect you, and you are somebody that I do respect in our industry because we don't even work at the same company, and that's totally fine, right? So I'm honored to be here today. So my name is Brittany Smart. I'm located in Los Angeles, California. I've been in the insurance industry for about 8 years. I'm currently working with an IMO called Family First Life. If you guys have any questions and you want to reach out to me, my phone number is 310-433-1183. You guys can also reach out to me on Instagram. It's Brittany Smart, BRITTP, 3 T's, ANY. My last name's Smart, SMART. That is my IG handle.
Subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications. If you'd like a copy of my script, email me at jve@thejve.com. Awesome. Thank you for that. And I'll put some of that in the description of the video as well. And if I look down here, I'm just taking notes because I like to learn too from the people I talk with. Awesome. So, what got you into selling mortgage protection? You're saying that's kind of your main focus. So what prompted that?
So before becoming independent and working as a broker, I worked at a captive insurance agency for about maybe 2 to 3 years. And that was pretty much just final expense focused. So I didn't even know that mortgage protection existed. And then when I came over to FFL in 2018, my mentor in the business, who's very, very, very successful, he's produced millions of dollars of life business on his own pen. That's the lead type that he was working. And so he trained me. And so I learned from Jack Yu, and that's how I got started into it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So your mentor showed you.
Yeah.
How much of an impact has he been in your development?
I would say he's been huge, honestly. I always like to give credit where credit is due because a lot of the things that I've learned from mentors that I have at Family First Life. I came in with the knowledge of knowing how to sell and help clients, but what I've learned where I am now kind of just took my sales game to the next level. We like to say, like, when you're working with certain companies, you're kind of like in the big leagues, and I feel like I was kind of working in, like, the development league, the G League, it's called now, the NBA, but, now, you progress. But he was so impactful because when I came into the business, like I said, I didn't know anything about mortgage protection. I didn't know anything about FIAs, annuities, IULs, no prior experience to that. And when I came in and started working with him, he was already producing over 400,000 on his own pen, selling personally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's a 5-time Hall of Fame producer. So at Family First Life, that's where, you're able to help over 400 families in a calendar year on your own. So that's not agency numbers, that's personal numbers. So seeing him do that, Justin, I was like, okay, I'm learning A, from someone that knows how to do it, and B, I want that kind of success.
Awesome. I love that. And if you're watching this, guys, especially if you don't even have to be new to the industry. A good mentor and leader is really important. I've met some people who are brand new to the business, brand new to sales, who totally crush it, and they don't really need a mentor. That's kind of rare. I've found most people, you need some sort of guidance helps a lot. So it's important that you guys team up with the right people that kind of fit your style, your vibe, what you're looking to accomplish. So thank you for that. Now, what I think is really cool about what you guys do is the Hall of Fame isn't based anything on production, right? It's just how many people did you help?
It is based on production. I just want
Okay. I didn't know.
Break down those numbers. So I broke it into like 400 families. Cool. Everybody, is like kind of promotes differently.
For sure. Okay, cool. I understand. Well, I like the idea of families covered. I think it's a easier thing for new agents to get behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm helping this family, as opposed to like I'm just going to go make money selling them a policy, right? I found some people like that a little different. So you used to work face to face, then transition to telesales.
Yes.
When did that happen?
That happened in 2021. I was on the East Coast for about a year and a half. I moved back to LA, and with mortgage, if you guys don't know, with like as far as the lead vendors go, you typically will lock out counties. So all of my counties that I had locked out for mortgage were all in New Jersey and Maryland, most of them on the East Coast. So when I came back to LA, Justin, I contemplated, I'm like, man, I'm not going to give up these counties because it was hard to get them in the first place. And if I can give you guys advice, if you guys are able to work with a lead vendor with mortgage and you find a good county, do not drop it, because once you drop it, you'll probably never get it back. So, I was like, okay, am I going to have to fly out about, twice a week or once a week? And I just really wasn't feeling that too much. So I said, okay, let me figure out how to do this over the phone. I would say it took me probably a good solid 3 weeks to a month to get it down where I wasn't constantly getting, let me think about it. And I'll call you back, and then never hear from them again. Am I saying too much? Am I saying too little? I'm not building enough value. So I kind of went through all those things for the first 30 days until I was really able to figure out, okay, I need to provide the most value I can in the shortest amount of time. I need to make sure this client knows why they should be doing business with me versus the other 7 people that are, reaching out to them, calling them incessantly, showing up at their house randomly, door knocking them, right?
Yeah.
All of those things, Justin. So I really transitioned to telesales, though, out of necessity, because like I said, everything was East Coast based, moved back to the West Coast. So that's what started for me.
Okay, awesome. That's cool. It's kind of like little different my transition. I just was sick of driving around. So you were sick of, hey, I got to go.
That'll do it.
How do you lock down a county? If anybody here is like, geez, I want to find a vendor and lock down a county, how do you do it?
Yeah, so if you work with an IMO or an organization, I'm not really sure what your structure is, but your IMO, depending, should be able to provide you with a list of lead vendors that are, have been vetted, they're really good quality, been in business a long time, know what they're doing, so you're not just throwing, burning money. You can reach out to those lead vendors and you can get literally a list of the entire country that's open, and they do it by counties. So I would get with your lead strategist or whoever you guys work with and figure out what's available in your area. If you're working telesales, it's great because, as you know, Justin, I have like 33, 35 states right now. I don't work in all of them. I mainly work in like 5, but there's no limit, right? So Alaska is not off limits, like versus before when I was going in home. I was like, I don't want to fly to Alaska.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thanks. We actually only do final expense here, like 90% of the business final expense. So our goal is to start a carrier, kind of like Lincoln Heritage Senior Life Insurance Company. That's kind of so we're really focused on just that niche. But it's mainly for guys, if you're listening to this, you're in whatever IMO you're with, do what she said. Reach out, see, hey, what's a good mortgage protection vendor, and see if you can lock up a county. So I think that's some gold news right there.
That's huge. And I learned on final expense. I worked final expense for so many years, and I still love final expense. I still work it occasionally. And especially, Justin, because of rates, mortgage rates going higher. A lot of people are not refinancing and purchasing as fast as they were, as much as they were. Okay. So transitioning to final expense and knowing how to work both guys is so key to running a really, solid business. So you're not putting all your eggs in just one basket.
Yeah, for sure. It makes sense. So guys, you want to learn to do both, right? Mm-hmm. Like now, about as costs per lead, what do you think? What are mortgage protection lead costs look like for anybody listening in, so you don't get worked? And so if you see something super cheap, maybe it's not like what they're saying it is.
Yeah, that's true. I would say a good quality lead should cost you anywhere from $45 to about, this is going to scare some of you, $105. I know it sounds crazy, but if you're working with a good quality lead vendor, and usually the only reason that the prices increase is because things have just slowed down. They have to mail twice as much or something for the return to come back. So, but if you're just starting out and you do want to get into mortgage protection, I don't know if I would recommend a mail drop for you guys because that's just a percentage. Like you'll throw out some mail and then a certain percentage comes back. If
Okay.
if you can get on a buy per lead program, which means if Justin's on a buy per lead, he's only getting charged for the leads that are coming in, right? So with a mail drop, you're paying X amount of dollars fixed generally per week, or it could go higher. And then
Hmm.
whatever comes back, if it's 1%, a half a percent, I mean, I think the average is about zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.8. Sometimes you're going to get a 1% return, but depending on the county, I wouldn't just throw a bunch of money out like that. I would try to find a buy per lead program.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Especially like mail costs can be so, random and varied. I've seen that with final expense too for direct mail.
Mm-hmm.
So mortgage protection's mainly direct mail. I guess that, I didn't even know that. So that's cool.
Yeah, there's different ways. I like one of the partners that I have because when my information is on the mailer, so then when it goes out, it has my phone number.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's great. Has my phone number,
Wow.
and so some people that are really like, or you can go online as well. So some people that are really savvy and would just rather, go online, they can fill out their information. I get the lead in real time right away. The key is to call them immediately. You guys probably know that when you get new leads, you want to call them right away. And then my number is also on the mailer, so they can call me, and then we can book an appointment together. Or, like you were saying, just in direct mail, they fill out the form and return it back.
Subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications. If you'd like a copy of my script, email me at jve@thejve.com. That's so cool. This makes me think a friend of mine who actually is in a YouTube group with me. His name's Bo. He has a channel now. He wholesales houses. He makes like a stupid amount of money, like millions of dollars a year. And he used to sell final expense for like 8 years. And that's how I got to know him because they were like, how'd you get so good at cold calling people to buy their houses? And he's like, oh, I used to sell final expense. And I was like, dude, no way. So I linked up with him. One thing he said, though, that made me think of possibly mortgage protection. I don't know. It's probably way out there, but he said you can find data lists to see what someone's equity is in their house based on their mortgage and what their mortgage is. And then you can use a thing called skip tracing to get all the numbers for all those people.
Wow.
Yeah, so he said he uses that to see the equity they have, and he'll go just cold call like hundreds of people and be like, I'll buy your house for this much, I'll buy your house for this much, and sometimes it bites. So I'm just thinking from a mortgage protection standpoint,
Genius.
you'd have yeah, it's pretty cool. Cool. So, what challenges did you face? So you said, what challenges did you face to face that prompted a transition to telesales? Now, what challenges did you said a little bit, but anything that sticks out in particular that you face, like going telesales, and sometimes maybe you'd be like, dang, I wish I was in front of them.
Yeah. So a lot of times when let's say somebody calls me, they received my letter in the mail and they said, what is this about? It's mortgage protection. I explain how the programs work, and they say, okay, give me a quote right now. I want to know what it is right now. And so you're like, okay, I have them on the line. I want to be able to help them. If I hang up the phone, am I going to be able to get them back on the phone? So early on, I kind of made the mistake of course, after finding out like their health, right? But it was such a fast conversation. I'd figure out the health, so figure out, can we do turnover and IUL, or are we going final expense? After I would give them the quote, they're like, okay, thanks, I'll think about it, bye. And then I could get them on the phone again.
I know how that goes.
So
yeah.
I don't do anything, even if I have nothing going on at that moment, I refuse to just spit out the quote. I'm not a quoting machine, right? So I always set an appointment. And I think the important thing is setting the expectations, Justin, with all the clients up front. So I explain how the programs are priced. They're based on 3 things: your age today, your health, and the amount of your loan, or the amount of coverage that we're trying to put in place. I'm an underwriter for Camden County, for example. My job is to go over this information with you to see if this is the type of program that would even be beneficial for you and your family. If it's not, no worries. I'm gonna update your file. That way I don't continue to call you, right? And we can all go on with life. But I try to provide them with the reasons why mortgage protection often makes more sense than just life insurance, for example, with no living benefits. Okay. You know, if you guys know about term insurance, right? Not all term policies are created equal. And I don't mean based on price, I mean based on benefits. You know, you can get into a great, not inexpensive term policy, but if I become totally disabled or have a heart attack, that term policy I have through my job, which is typically group term, is not going to pay me out a benefit, yeah. Right? And I'm not saying, guys, in every case, but I'm saying in a lot of cases, it's life insurance. It's a death benefit. It pays if you die. But if I have a stroke, a heart attack, I get dementia in 40 years, renal disease, ALS, dementia, like I said, total disability, I have programs where we can put income into the families, you know, into the home, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to die in order to receive benefits. And so there's so much value in that, especially in, you know, people that, if you're talking to two people, it's husband and wife. For me, the most important thing for me to find out is who's at the greatest disadvantage if somebody passes away. Meaning, if, you know, Justin is married and let's say his wife makes up 75% of the household income, okay, and she passes. She's gone tomorrow. How is he going to be able to still pay the mortgage, put food on the table, and let's say they have 2 kids under 18? Is he going to go out and get 3 jobs with, you know, toddlers? Probably not. Is his lifestyle going to change? Probably. So my job is to figure out, okay, yes, we want to cover the mortgage. Let's figure out how we're going to do that. But also let's figure out, do we need to replace income? Do you want your children to go to college? Do we need to look at, you know, like those types of things?
Awesome. Cool. So, what, do you ever, now if someone's married, do you ever do the presentation without both parties there?
I do actually. And I know that's kind of a big no-no, guys, you know, when you're so used to running in home, and it's like, you know, you do not run appointments without the decision maker. That's how I was taught, because you're just going to be, you know, they're going to tell you that they need to think about it. They need to talk to their spouse, and then they may never get back to you. For me, the approach is so different because I do not expect to close 75% of my mortgage appointments. I don't close on the first call. I'm either closing on the second or the third call. I'm not being overly pushy with them about why they need to do this right now. And it's worked that approach has worked so well, you know, because to answer your question, yeah, I do a lot of just one person, but it's typically the decision maker, and they just need to run it by, let's say, the wife or the other spouse to make sure that benefits them financially, and they both agree on it. So
yeah, because their name's probably on the lien or the whatever it is, the mortgage.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I always find out, you know, is there 2 borrowers or just one borrower? Is the other spouse, like you were saying, are they on the deed or are they on the loan? Like, are they still on the hook for the loan? If one person dies financially, are they still on the hook?
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Because everybody approaches that a little different when it comes to the one-legger, but clearly you're saying where you follow up, and just how many times do you have to call usually to get that second contact in?
So before we get off the phone, Justin, let's say this is our initial call. I show you a couple programs, and then the next call is going to be, hey, you're going to let me know, Justin, are we applying for coverage or are we declining the coverage? It's that simple. I don't care which one it is, but that's what we're doing on the next call. So before you and I get off the phone, I'm setting a solid date with you for our next appointment. So I do not say, you know, let's say you're like, well, I need a couple days to think about it, or I need some time to think about it. Okay, but I need to get you back on my calendar. And so I will pick a date and time that's concrete and set. And then sometimes I might send, you know, follow-ups or reminders to them as well.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Do you use any sort of CRM or program to follow up with?
Not really. A lot of my agents actually do. They use, a lot of my agents use Ringy. Have you guys heard of that CRM? It's
I know what it is. Yeah.
It's really good. It'll text message people and you can send out all types of things. I'm kind of old school. I send out there's 3 pieces of information I send to my clients when we book the appointment. It's my state license for that particular state, my business card, so they can see my face, they can see where my address is. And then it's a list of the companies I partner with: Transamerica, Mutual of Omaha, AIG, John Hancock, America, National Life Group. They see all of those as well, so they get that information. I urge them to go ahead and do me a favor, go to the Department of Insurance website to verify my credentials. You know, on our call, you might be giving me some sensitive, protected information. I want to make sure you're completely comfortable with being able to verify me, and it works very well.
Okay, cool. So just some third-party information to validate who you are and that you are credible.
Because I hear this so much. You know, I have clients that maybe book an appointment with me or book an appointment with my dialer, and then they'll call me and say, you know, I just want to make sure this is legitimate because there are so many scams out there today. The emails I get of people trying to scam me is crazy. And so they just want to feel safe, right? Which is so important, especially when you're doing business over the phone. They're giving you those sensitive pieces of information. So giving the client as much information about yourself is going to set you up for a good call.
Okay, awesome. What advice would you give to someone who's getting into mortgage protection? Like if they're like, hey, I want to give this a shot over the phone. Maybe you'd recommend them do it face-to-face first. I don't know. So what would you give?
Yeah, that's good. I do. Justin, I definitely do. I would recommend, if you can, get some leads, go in your backyard. Because if you have leads and they don't answer the phone, like we know a lot of people don't, text them. Yes, I book a good amount of appointments through text message, but also you can go stop by and door knock. It's not like
you just knock. Yeah.
It's not like you're just randomly knocking on doors. You actually have this information of someone that just refinanced a $750,000 loan with whatever bank, and they're looking for the protection. So, you know, you have the right to go out there and get them that information, right? So I think that going in person is probably more beneficial for you because it's a little bit easier. People are so much more forgiving in person. Over the phone.
Yeah, they're a lot less tough, for sure.
Over the phone, you know, Justin, you have 30 seconds to say the right things, and if you don't, they hang up on you.
Yeah, or less.
Yeah.
So it's funny. A couple weeks ago, I did an interview with another guy who is I'm going to be posting his stuff soon, but he does final expense direct mail leads, and he's been doing it for like 8 years. He doesn't ever call them. He only knocks. That's it. So he'll buy his direct mail, doesn't schedule a single appointment, just goes, knocks on the door, and that's it. Yeah, he'll buy. He's like, I get 20 leads a week, and I usually get 20 sales a week because of the. I don't sell them all, but he's like, you think like 15 sales a week because he'll get some husband and wife sales, stuff like that. So you guys can always just go knock.
Yep. Yes. Activity wins.
Cool.
I mean, whether it's your calling, texting, stopping by, activity is going to trump all.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hustle beats talent when talent doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
And if you're talented and you hustle, I mean, then you got both. Game over. So let's take us through that. What's a day look like for you? What's your morning look like? When do you like to wake up? How do you feed the beast? And what do you do to take care of yourself and stay energized and motivated and focused?
I love these questions because I really feel like what you do off of outside of your work, outside of your career is so important because I feel like it impacts your performance so much. So I wake up typically between 5 and I would say 6:30 sometimes, maybe a little extra sleep, depending on what time I went to bed the night before. But I like to wake up between 5 and 6. I do work out at least probably 5 to 6 days a week. I don't really have a set time on when I go to the gym because business comes first, right? So I had calls all day today, Justin, and I did not have a chance to get to the gym, but I will block out time in my day. I used to feel really guilty for, okay, I didn't make it to the gym at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. like everybody else. Like I must be a slacker if I go at whatever time. But working from home now enables me to fit things into my schedule and personally not feel guilty because I mean, I'm still working sometimes 10, 12 hours a day, you know, and part of going to the gym is that's taking care of myself. So you make sure that your mental and your physical is A1 if you want to perform at the highest level. So that's, you know, so in my daily routine, definitely the gym. I listen to, some people listen to like audiobooks or meditate and do those things when they wake up. I wish that I have gotten into meditation, but I just haven't, it hasn't gravitated toward me yet. I'll listen to like an Audible book or something like before I go to sleep. That's usually what I listen to at night. So instead of in the morning, I listen to it at night. And then, you know, I just make sure to get good, healthy meals in during the day. I don't eat junk food. I drink as much water as possible. And one of the things that has helped me so much, guys, if you're working from home and you're doing telesales, if you have a group that you can feed in with, for example, for our agency, my team, we're all on Zoom almost every day except Sundays.
I love that.
So we're working together. We're trying to motivate each other. We're helping each other with underwriting, call to close, all those things. It's really, it pushes me to do more in the day versus me just working by myself, right? Sometimes we're not as accountable to ourselves as we should be. I'm no exception to that. There's days where, you know, I want to stop at 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock, you know, I don't have any more appointments, but you know, being on Zoom with the rest of the team pushes me to do a little bit more.
Subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications. If you'd like a copy of my script, email me at jve@thejve.com. Cool. Yeah, and I love staying plugged in. I have all my agents on Zoom and the different coaching groups there and stuff like that. So, guys, this is actually something that I read in a book this morning. It's called, where is it? You guys, this is really good. I don't know if it's over there. Whatever. It's called The Culture Code. So it's really cool. There's a graph. It's called the Allen Curve. And it has a guy at MIT did this study in companies, and he found that the distance separating desks was inversely correlated with the amount of communication people had, which makes sense, right? So the closer people were, the more they communicated with each other. So what that goes to show is that in groups, people like to feel like they belong to something, and they like to feel like they're part of something. And if you guys if you're with your group or IMO, find a group of people that are hanging out in Zoom, hanging there with their cameras on, helping each other, pumping each other up, because those, I've seen people come in who are very talented, who didn't plug in, leave the business, as opposed to people who came in who weren't the most talented initially, but they got plugged into the group that they're in, and they feel like they belong to something. And they're just, it's seeing people go through that transformation and like looking forward to showing up every day. So I can't overemphasize how important that is, guys, to get plugged in to a group like that. So I'll definitely look for something. Anything that do you guys like listen to each other dial, or do you guys have like for new agents to listen to, stuff like that?
Yeah, you know, we'll have live dials going on. And then we have different underwriting like programs and people that they can reach out to. But obviously, if we're on helping each other, we can also help with guide agents, especially if you're newer, on what products to sell based upon prescription medications, or what the best option would be for clients. So what I've seen is for agents that aren't on Zoom plugging in, they do not have the same results, Justin, as somebody that's on their 50, 60 hours a week with us. And guess what, guys? It's not forever. You know, it's not forever that you need to work 70 or 80 hours a week, or, you know, even if that's like, if you're nauseated at that, 60 hours, 50 hours. But this is me personally. I think that if you really do whatever it takes to figure it out, if this, for example, is what you truly want to do, then you'll put in those hours and the effort early on to learn, perfect your craft, get really good at it, and then it's not forever. It's not forever that you're working that hard, 6-7 days a week. The beauty of it is that you can create your own schedule. But just for me personally, I think if you do spend those hours early in, you will not regret it.
Oh, for sure. Like, and guys, think about it. Elon Musk says it. He's like, if I work 100 hours a week, and you work 40, I'm going to get there 2.5 times faster than you. It's just, that's just what it is, you know? And I think that sometimes it's easy, guys, if you're watching this okay, cool. I thought it broke up there for a second. It's easy if you're watching this to use the excuse of self-care to be lazy. So it's easy to confuse the two. Oh, I got to take a break. But I'll tell you, you can pick your heart. You can have your heart as being, hey, I'm going to work my butt off 60, 70 hours a week for the first little bit and learn this stuff and get it down. Because like she said, it's not forever, right? One of our leaders here, one of our coaches, this lady Mika, she used to work like that. Now she can work for 3 hours and throw up 5,000, 3-4 hours, throw up 3 to 5,000 and go home. Now she's building a team, so it's different. But that's, 6 years in the business. She's crushing it like that. So like she said, it's not always, you're not going to be 70 hours a week forever, but it is important to put that up front. So now when you talk to, how do you communicate that with agents, right? How do you communicate? And this is something I struggle with because sometimes I'm a wuss. I'm the biggest pushover ever sometimes. And I have trouble saying to someone because my thing is I have trouble communicating with someone to work a lot without feeling like the greedy boss. I don't want to come off as them he just wants to get an override on me. So how do you communicate that with your agents who you think may not be working as much as they should? But you also don't want to sound like, I don't know, maybe you don't even feel that way, but
no,
how do you communicate that?
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think I work as hard as I do, because I never want people that I work with to feel like I'm just making an override off of them when it's Wednesday afternoon and I'm just sitting there chilling on the couch watching, I don't know. I don't watch TV, but
Me neither.
I want people to feel like that I work with. So I always make sure that I'm working as hard as I can and leading from the front. So when it comes to trying to communicate the hours that I feel like are necessary, you have to put in to learn a new skill. If you're starting a new career, then those conversations for me, Justin, I have those day one upon coming aboard, especially when we're trying to figure out, are you working from home? Are you going to go on the field? A lot of people love to work from home because, yes, you get to make your own schedule. You can sit and sell in your pajamas if you want, whatever your prerogative is. You can do what you need to do throughout the day, right, without clocking in. But there's also pitfalls to that, because if you're not structured in your day, you could say that you're working all day and have zero results at the end of the week or at the end of the month. And that's why, I say getting on Zoom is so important, or plugging in with your team. But I will oftentimes just let people know that, hey, this is what I did to become, to be able to sell at the level that I'm at. This is what I did. These are the things I did. I'm not telling you that you have to do them because you're 1099. I'm not your boss. I can't tell you what to do. And then I'll point to also other people, other agents, Justin, that I've hired that have been super successful, that have had similar structure of what I have or how I have taught them. I'll just show them, hey, Natalie, I work with, she's out of Chicago. She's newer to the insurance industry, but she's doing so well. And
I think I saw you post her on Instagram.
So yeah, I post her every day because she's deals every single day. She doesn't work on the weekend.
Good for her.
She does not work on the weekend. She works
whatever.
Friday. But she's on Zoom 10 hours a day, right? She's helping families every single day. And when she started, she was working 7 days a week, But it only lasted like maybe 30, 60 days that she was doing that.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, no, it's that accountability that you can have to people when you show up is huge. And also, too, if you're watching this, we're not saying that you have to work 60 to 70 hours a week to make a check in this business. We're just saying if you want to be up there on the top of the board, that's what you got to do. So I have some agents who are like, Justin, but I don't care if I'm not at the top of the board. I'm cool with writing my few deals a week, and I'm good with that. Cool. That's you. Do your thing. But we're just saying or at least I'm saying, if you want to be the top of the leaderboard, but you're only going to work 40 hours a week, you got to say, okay, you got to lower your expectations or increase the action. Because if not, you're going to there's going to be a conflict there.
And I like that you just said that, because I'm not trying to say that either and put out some toxic work culture
No, I know you weren't. I know you weren't.
That's what I hold myself to is
Yeah.
high standard, right? But yes, and like Justin said, there's agents that I work with that they might be doing this part time. They might not have that many bills. You know, when I came in, I think I needed $10,000 to live when I joined FFL. So
Yeah.
guess what? I had to figure it out, right? I had to figure it out. So it's based on your situation, and I'm just saying the effort that you put in. You know, if you want to be making a really great income up higher than what the average is doing, then that's what it would take.
Exactly. Cool. So what we're gonna do here for the remaining stretch is I'm gonna have you pretend I don't know my home, but pretend that I do, and pretend that I have a mortgage, and I just took it out. I'm super pumped, but I have 2 4-pound children. They're very hairy. Complete freeloaders. They sit there all day.
Okay.
And I'm worried that they won't be able to pay the mortgage when I pass. So walk me through a process. You get my card in the mail. You get my card back. It's got my name, everything. I'm like, I'm interested in this program that I got this card on. So walk me through your process. Yeah. If you call me, I answer the phone. Hello.
Yeah, we'll go through the phone script, and then we can go kind of through the introduction into the rest of it. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Justin?
Yes.
Hey, Justin, this is Brittany. It's the underwriter for the mortgage insurance. I'm giving you a call, Justin, regarding the form that you sent back to me. Recently, you had done a loan with whatever bank in the amount of $750,000. It was that letter in the mail explaining the mortgage insurance. So if you pass away, get diagnosed with something, or become critically ill, then there's a plan in place for the mortgage. Do you remember doing that?
It rings a bell. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm just the underwriter, Justin, that's communicating with you to get that information out to you.
What if I said no?
So I would say I would just refer back to the form. Do I have your address correct? 123 Main Street here.
Cool. That's what we do too.
Yeah. And then, it looks like you put a co-borrower here that's 48 years young. And then you are 57 years young, and it looks like you guys are both non-tobacco. Is that correct?
First of all, I'm 32, but yeah. I know. No, I get it. No, I'm getting. So now what if someone says, the reason why I'm stopping you here is because this is stuff people are going to run into, right? This is like real. So not everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, I love the way the card looked. You did a great job with that. So people are going to be like, I already got it. I already took care of it. What would you say? No, I already did it.
I would say perfect. So that actually makes my job a lot easier, Justin. So the thing is not all programs are created equal. It's not uncommon for my clients to sit with 3 to 4 brokers to make sure that they're in the best program possible. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to take up a lot of your time. It will probably just take us about 5 to 10 minutes to see if there's anything that I can offer you or something that you don't currently have covered. So I just need you for about 5 minutes tomorrow. What time do you typically get in the door from work?
Like 5.
5 o'clock. Okay. So I do have an opening on my schedule between like 5:30 and 6. Would there be any reason if I call you between 5:30 and 6 tomorrow that you and your spouse wouldn't be available?
No.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do, Justin, I'm assuming this is your cell phone.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to send you 3 pieces of information. I'm going to send you out my state license, which is my state license through the Department of Insurance and Banking in New Jersey. I'm going to send you my business card as well as a list of companies that I partner with. All of the companies that you'll see are A-rated plus, and typically have been in business well over 100 years. Okay. So I'm going to send that out to you. And then I have you and I apologize, your wife's name is not on this form. What was her name?
Betsy.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk to you and Betsy tomorrow for about 5 to 10 minutes tomorrow, Justin, just over the phone to see if there's anything that I can help you with. Okay, if not, no worries. I will clear your name from the file. Make sure I update it. That way, you don't continue to get phone calls.
Cool. Okay, sweet. So you don't even try to push there. You just say, I'm gonna call you at another time.
Yeah, I mean,
I like
because
that.
when I'm calling you, I'm not calling you to do it now. I'm calling you to set an appointment.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. So you call. So you don't go as much for the one call close as to call and set an appointment.
No, I know. Yeah, I mean, I will do one call closes, but typically it's based on either us having an appointment. So let's say we do the whole deal. I
Gotcha.
book the appointment with you, and then tomorrow we get on, and then we close the deal. That, to me, that's still one call close because it's in the same appointment. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, I typically just don't take a lot of those calls on the spot anymore, because as soon as you give the rates, there's, you know, there just doesn't seem to be a lot of value there. And then, okay, thanks.
I think you're dealing with a more responsible client than your typical final
Oh
expense
yeah.
too.
Mhm.
So like final expense, I mean, I would never tell anybody to set an appointment and call them back the next day. Personally, I'd be like, no, get her on the line. If you need help, I'll jump in. But it's probably a different, because I talked to someone else that sells IULs on the phone, and he said the same thing. He was like, yeah, I set an appointment and then go off the appointment.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because all of my agents do one call close for final expense. Like Justin said, they don't book an appointment. They're not going to keep it. You're going to be calling.
Yeah.
Get people down. Don't do that. Do one call close. So yeah, with mortgage, for me personally, I don't know what other people that are doing mortgage at a high level, I don't really know what they're doing, but for me, it works well. And I know it works because I've trained other agents to sell at a high level with my same process.
Awesome. That's really cool. See, I had absolutely no idea that was a thing. And do you kind of handle that objection the same way, whether they said they don't remember, they already have it, or they're not interested? Do you kind of handle it all that the same, like where you go to set up the appointment and then?
Yeah, so I love that I'm not interested, because I'm like, what are you not interested in?
Yeah.
And then I don't say anything. I wait for the client to speak. I don't say a word. If it takes them 5 minutes to speak, then we're just going to be at a 5-minute standoff. But, you know, because I just don't know what you're not interested in. If you haven't received the information yet, you have no idea what this is about, how are you not interested? That's strange to me. The second thing is that, again, what I think a lot of people miss is that for healthy people, and if you have the products, living benefits are so impactful. And I don't mean terminal illness, and I don't mean taking out a loan on your policy.
Like critical illness or like stuff like that.
Exactly.
Right.
Critical illness,
Yeah.
chronic illness, which covers total disability. And then some of the carriers I work with have a critical injury rider. So if they're injured, have severe burns or something like that, it also can pay out a lump sum benefit. So those things of explaining the client to the clients over the phone as to why this is not just like your run-of-the-mill life insurance policy that you can get for $25 a month. Like, this has some real value. I just need a few minutes to explain it. If it's not good for you, no worries. But what was 5 minutes of your day for me to help determine if you're in the best situation? It doesn't cost you anything, and your family deserves, you deserve to give that to your family.
Yeah, exactly. And if you guys put yourself in the shoes of the beneficiary, there's really nothing that someone can say that you can't logically come back with a response to, because you're really looking out for them. You're not looking out for the client. You're looking out for the people that are going to get this money when they pass. So cool. I like how you do that. And I didn't even think about that, because I hear living benefits and I'm like, terminal illness, but I don't do mortgage protection. Right. And so, we do have term here. We do go up to like a 40-year return of premium term, and then, up to 40, 10, 20, 30, 40 regular term. Cool. And they do have that critical illness, but
40 years. I have not heard of that one.
Yeah, 40-year up to $500,000, and they can do a return of premium on it too if they want, which I have mixed feelings about depending on what it costs and everything. But
nice.
Yeah. So, cool. So, okay. So now we're moving on to the appointment. So now it is the next day at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And I am sitting there, got my phone in front of me, and I'm like, okay, Brittany Insurance calls me, and I'm like, hello.
Hey, Justin. It's Brittany, the underwriter.
Hey, Brittany.
Hey, is Betsy there with you?
Yep, she's right here. Betsy!
Okay, perfect. How are you guys doing today?
Doing pretty well, thank you.
Okay, awesome. So just as I explained yesterday, Justin, I'm just the underwriter scheduled to go over these programs with you. My job is just to see if this is a good fit for you guys. If it's not, no worries. So how the programs work, Justin, the pricing of the programs are based on 3 things. So they're based on your age today, your health, and the amount of your loan or the coverage that we're looking to put in place. Okay. So I've been doing mortgage insurance for about 8 years, Justin, or I've been in the insurance industry for about 8 years, specifically mortgage insurance. And I would say 100% of the time, most of my clients have the same concerns, right? The number one concern is that, hey, Brittany, I have life insurance or I have this policy through my job. Why do I need to do this? Okay. The second thing is 100% of my clients agree that if this is not in the budget and this is not affordable, this would not make sense to put into place, correct?
Yeah, okay, correct. Perfect. For sure.
So that's my number one objective today also is to help you find a program that you can qualify for, something that is valuable to you guys, but most importantly, something that is affordable and fits in the budget. Okay. So at that point, I get all those things out, right? And then going back to the group insurance question, or hey, I have life insurance. I'm like, that's great, Justin. 100% of my clients have life insurance already when we talk. Literally, they do. They either have
I believe it,
or outside policy, and I'm like, that's great. But the group term, the policy through your work does not count. And let me tell you why. I don't count that, okay? Because if you typically, this is not all of every employer, so don't come for me, okay? But a lot of times after you retire, if you leave that company, get fired, your benefits stay, right? And if you are able to keep those group term benefits after you retire, the cost goes up typically, or it's reduced, okay? So I don't look at that as something permanent that we can count on being there for you long term. And the other side of this is the living benefit rider. So versus life insurance with no living benefit riders, if you qualify, you do have to be in relatively good health to qualify for those. But if you do qualify, the living benefit riders that I would have to offer you guys, Justin, would be like, heaven forbid that you became very ill and now you're totally disabled. You cannot do 2 of 6 activities of daily living on your own. You might even need a skilled nurse to come in and help you, or maybe even when you're older, go into a nursing facility. These programs that I would be showing you guys actually have the ability to replace some of that income that would be lost, so you can still pay the mortgage, put food on the table, right? So literally all of the things that you can think of that might happen to you other than death, we can put a plan in place for you guys. And I'm not usually that wordy. I'm just kind of over explaining it to you guys. I'm actually not wordy at all. Like my intro is 2 seconds. But I try to get people on and off the phone, and in a short amount of time, I have to convey what the main objectives are. And I need to convey that because of the pricing of the programs are based on age, health, and your loan amount, I'm going to be asking you these kind of questions, and here's why. So a newer agent might say, okay, Justin, well, roundabout, what's your monthly income after taxes? And I hear this all the time with my agents, and they're like, why do you need to know that? It's none of your business, right? Like,
yeah, people get all uptight about that.
Right. I don't get that objective because I'm literally explaining why I need this information. So I don't ever get that.
Yeah, for sure. So I remember when I started selling insurance, there's a financial needs analysis, essentially is what they called it, an FNA at New York Life. So it's like explaining like, hey, what are we going to do here? And then this is why we need to know this information, like how much you make, what's your savings, what do you already have in place, stuff like that. So the biggest thing, one of the biggest things you guys are going to, me thinking, it makes so much sense because I don't really run into this with final expenses much, is workplace insurance. Everyone's got a policy through work. So, and that's like the worst comeback to like, oh, I got it taken care of. It's like, no, you don't, So,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's okay.
Didn't mean to interrupt
you. So from there, we'll go into kind of like what you said, needs analysis. We have something that we use called a financial inventory sheet that all agents will use. I kind of have my own internally now. I don't really use anything. I'm really old school. When I say I write everything on paper, I literally write everything on paper. And so when we're going through everything, I have tons of notebooks. People come to my house and they laugh because they're like, "Oh, are you going to school?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But tons of notebooks with all of my clients, not personal information, but just, prescription medications, income. So the next piece of that, Justin, is when I'm going into, okay, let's talk about, I confirm we have the age on the form is 32 years young and 34 years young. That's correct. You guys are still non-tobacco, non-marijuana users. Yes, that's correct. Okay. And then I'm going into the income pieces and also prescription medication. So I'm asking, okay, Justin, for just you personally, what's your monthly income roundabout after taxes? Okay. So you're going to spit out that information. If they are seniors and they are at the age where they should be getting Social Security, I will ask, are you drawing your Social Security already? Are they delaying it? Sometimes they delay it so they can get more on the back end later. But I'm asking, let's say Justin says my monthly income is $6,000. Let's say he's over age 62. Okay, just to help some of you guys out. And you're running final expense, so this might help some of you. But I will ask, okay, Justin, of the $6,000, how much of that is from Social Security? Justin says $2,500. Okay, so is the rest coming from a pension, disability? Where's that coming from? He said it was a pension while I was at Pepsi. Okay, perfect. Now for Betsy's monthly income, you said, is about $3,700. How much of that is Social Security? $1,000. And then the rest, Justin, where does that come? It comes from her. She's still working. Okay, so wages. Roundabout, you know how much Betsy you'll be getting after you retire, and let's say it's like half that amount. So going back, I'll say, okay, are you guys familiar, Justin, with how Social Security survivorship works? And you guys would probably be surprised how many people do not know that if one of their spouse dies, they do not get to keep both Social Securities incomes. Mm-hmm. I talk to people every week that do not know that, right? So
yeah, it's huge.
It is. You only get to keep the higher of the two. So if Justin's is $2,700 and Betsy's is $1,000, if Betsy passes, he's not getting any additional income from her, but her income, her $1,000 goes away. If Justin dies first, her $1,000 goes away, and then she retains his $2,700. So in a sense, hers is going up $1,700, right? Another question I'm asking is, okay, of Justin's income, Justin, outside of the $2,700 for the remaining pension, how much of that is Betsy going to receive if you die first? 100%, 0%, 50%? And I get a mixed bunch.
Some people probably don't even know.
Exactly. I wouldn't say a lot of people don't know, but a good percentage of people are not sure. So that's one of the things I tell them, definitely figure that out. So whether we're going to continue with taking an application today or tomorrow, whenever, you still need to figure that out because it's important, right? So the point I'm trying to make, guys, is I'm trying to find out who's at a financial loss, who's going to be the most affected if we don't put in place some type of final expense insurance, income replacement.
So you're finding the need, really, is what you're saying. You're finding the need because you got to make sure you present it in a way that, hey, I take the problem's there, I'm solving the problem. Yeah. That's really what you're doing.
Once you go through the numbers, it's plain. There's no disputing, what might happen if Justin dies and his income is 75% of the household income. Betsy, are you going to be screwed? That's literally my verbiage. Yeah. It's you would be screwed, right? And she would say, yeah, I would be screwed. So that makes sense why we're doing this today.
Awesome. Cool. And then I feel like based on those questions, if they agree on all that stuff and you get something that fits them financially, there's probably not much pushback to get an app in.
No, it's really not, guys.
Yeah.
Once you go through the income, prescription medications, I always ask, if heaven forbid, Justin, Betsy goes first, would you stay in this house? Would you sell it right away, move on, downsize, or would you want to stay? I need to figure out if you're going to stay, can you afford to stay here if she goes first, and vice versa? That's another question I ask. Again, asking about the children. Justin, you were saying you have two furry hairy 4-pound kids that definitely probably could not stay in the home without, you leaving something to them to afford to pay the mortgage. We need to figure out what that number is. And if you're the only spouse left with 2 children and you're single, who's going to be there to help them if you pass and they're still 5 years old?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we can't leave that burden on whomever.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you. What are your go-to carriers?
So National Life Group. I haven't been as impressed with their underwriting lately. So if anybody at NLG is watching this, it's changed a little bit, but I love them. I honestly do. Mutual of Omaha, I use their Index Universal Life Express program a lot. I like that one a lot. For final expense, I like Americo for final expense. Prosperity Life Group, just because their Prosperity is so lenient. Again, I don't know who you guys are using, or who you guys are able to.
We use American Amicable and Prosperity and United Home Life, American Home Life. This is really, in general, anybody watching though, like if you guys are going to be contracted with more carriers than me. We're a captive where we are, so we do a few carriers, a lot of business through them. So,
Aetna,
a little different setup.
Aetna more because they have a really easy application and the signature process is amazing. It's a security question. So for doing telesales, guys, that's another thing I want to mention. If you're doing telesales, you want to put the client through a telesales friendly company, if that makes sense, because for final expense, I typically wouldn't use Mutual of Omaha because the signature process is so complicated for a lot of senior people that will be there all day and the job still won't get done. Americo has made things so amazing for us because they changed and added some features where, Justin, let's say, we're doing an app, we're going to put some final expense insurance in place. I'm going to text you a 6-digit code. Read that back to me. He reads me back the code. We go through the MIB. We go through the application. He signs it with giving me that 6-digit code. So that is my go-to for final expense.
Yeah, that's why I like American Amicable, because for their term and for their whole life, we just do the voice signature recording and then just submit it, and it shows us, the meds and everything like that. And I think they're increasing their term to. Yeah, they're increasing their term to 500,000 soon too, which is pretty cool.
I did hear.
Cool. Well, Brittany, appreciate this. Anything you want to leave the audience with before you head out?
I really, really appreciate you having me on today.
Appreciate
you.
Great
conversation, and I always love, like I said, being able to just converse with other people in the industry. With I know Justin and I, guys, don't have any, ill intention of speaking badly about other companies and about agents that are at other places, and so what I want to say is that for everybody's journey, like in the insurance industry, right? I think that it's very important that you're working with somebody and people that can really lead and show you the way. Yeah, we're all 1099. Yeah, we're all independent, but I've gathered so much from this call with you, actually, just in the way you pose questions and the things that you gather out of like a conversation, that I think it's just so important that you're working with people that know how to lead. And like from talking to you, Justin, I see why, you're growing your business, why people are tuning into your show and your podcast, and why agents want to work with you, because you know what you're talking about. You're leading from the front, but you're also providing a tremendous amount of value. And if you guys can just translate, like, I guess what's like in your heart over the phone to people, and just keep those people top of mind over the commission and over the sales and the accolades and whatever people strive for, like those things will fall in place. The money and all that, all that will fall into place. But just try to, keep people top of mind and remember why you got started. It's not always easy. This is not the easiest business, but it can be so, so rewarding So wherever, whoever's listening, whatever situation you're in right now, just keep going. It gets better.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brittany. Appreciate that. So we're going to end this here, but you do not want to miss the next video that we have coming up here. We'll have another interview with another agent that you're going to learn a lot from. They're totally crushing it. So if you want to learn some more tips from someone out there every single day making it happen, then click on that video. Appreciate you guys. And as always, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and I really appreciate everybody for watching this whole video.